So what would I do, a real estate attorney or broker, if I were selling my home right now in this market? Well, I think more than ever, there's three things to consider. One of them is the credibility of your agent and the process that they use to sell homes, hopefully to multiple offers still, even though the market's probably softening. We'll discuss that in other videos. But before I even hired an agent, I would go over, I don't have to, because I have the software. I'm a real estate attorney broker. I fill out my seller property questionnaire and my TDS. Room by room, I'd go through it because it would get me in the proper mindset of, for instance, am I going to be selling my trash compactor that's not working and my garbage disposal, or am I going to take them out? What am I doing with the refrigerator in the garage? And how does my home look to someone walking in? Are they going to see paint on the walls that's discolored, some paint peeling, our kids' crayons? What are they going to be seeing when they're going through my house? All right, so I go through all here. And if I've done this right, and even if I'm disclosing issues that I'm aware of, which you should be if you want to sleep at night when the transaction's over, because that's the theory of this. If you comply with your mandatory disclosures under California law, then when the transaction's over, if you've disclosed everything you know, then you should be liability free. A court should find you liability free because you complied. It's the way, everything's open. Realtors, you can say as is, but they can negotiate. The buyer can negotiate, but when it closes, you're done. I mean, that's the idea behind the title insurance. It's the idea behind doing these disclosures, that when you get the money and they get title, they're now owners of the house with its problems if you've disclosed all the material facts. I personally tell my clients to disclose everything. If someone's going to see through your house and wonder about it, even if it's crayons on the wall, put it up there. They're going to find you more credible over a while. If it's a significant issue that you're not going to repair, put it up there. If it's a significant issue you have paid for to repair, definitely disclose that, right? And that, in fact, you're told if you have that information, you should disclose it. And so basically, if the buyers see that you're disclosing all this stuff, and they're going to see it when they're walking through the house, they're going to find you more credible. It's going to make them more excited and open up their wallets or their purses and pay more money and not be as difficult. Lots of buyers are fearful walking in. Why is this seller selling? Am I just buying their headaches? Am I paying good money for their problems? And by doing disclosures, by giving homeowners warranties, by maybe doing repairs and having a repair list, you can set their mind at ease. Even if some of the repair list says, and we're not doing that, but we are doing this, contract subject to that, as long as it's not, like there's some things you have to repair per law, but 99% of the stuff, it's subject to negotiation. But if you're upfront and you explain it, it's just so much better. Now, one of the things I like to do, if you're not going to repair it and you can just get rid of it ahead of time, just do it. Why even not let it pop up in their head like things are just repaired? Just get rid of it. Now, when you get over to the seller property questionnaire, there are questions that clients come up with, like when there's problems, how much should they disclose? Should they over-disclose? Should they under-disclose? And can they put it in context? Well, let me just say that I found it for years, because lots of people have taken depositions. I'm like, you want to answer the call of a question and don't use charged words. Don't minimize things. Don't maximize them. Just say what you observe what you know if it's material, but what you observe. So like if you're seeing a wall buckling, just say a wall buckling. Don't say, but the foundation's a problem or not if you don't know anything about the foundation. If you're seeing paint peeling, you say there's paint peeling. If you're seeing discoloration, you just say, I see discoloration. You don't have to say that it's mold unless you know that it's mold. Now, let's say you see discoloration, but you know it's not mold. I would find a way to carefully, without getting liability put on myself, to disclose that. Like, there's discoloration on the wall. We have a mold report attached from we had a mold inspection. The report is attached. This is all we know. This is the extent of our knowledge on that issue. And then attach a report. So that's the idea behind this. Now, how do you use this? Well, when you've got your disclosures done, let's first talk about the buyers. You give them the disclosures, and you say, please, I'll tell a story right now. This is pretty important. My business partner, Phil, who still works for me in my brokerage, he's been in Arizona renovating properties. But when we were renovating properties here, we maybe overpaid for a property a little bit because we thought it was bigger than it was. We also were hoping it was a horse property. Later we were told by horse owners, because the property's not perfectly flat, it wasn't really a horse property. But we had a market to save us. And we fixed up a home really nicely. And we had multiple offer situation. And the buyers had a pretty crafty agent. They paid. They did their inspections. And they said, well, now that we've found these things, and they were really little ticky-tacky things, they wanted, I don't know, $12,000, $15,000 off the price of the home. Now, when we were renovating at the time, we put some money of our own cash down, and then you take out a loan from what's called a hard money lender, and that loan is usually, let's say you're getting the money, say it was $500,000 for 90 days, and you're probably prepaying the interest, and you've also included the mortgage broker's fee. So let's say you get $450,000 net. It's probably more than that, but whatever the amount you got, and they already got their fees, that was good for 90 days. If you go over the 90 days, each day brings up a month. So one day over, and you owe the next month's, and I think at the time we were at like $3,300 a month in interest. So we were faced with a choice. Find new buyers, see if they're still interested, start a transaction again. You know it's going to take about a month. So that was $3,000 gone, and it was getting near Christmas, so we would have had to probably wait January, February for the market to start up. So it was a very crafty buyer and a crafty agent. They're just like, let's just jam these guys. Now, what I would have done at the time is said, here's our inspections, here's our repair reports. We're not doing anything else. Please make all offers subject to that. So then when we're having multiple offers, we would also tell the buyers, hey, these are the terms, so if someone comes back and tries to renegotiate on this, we'll go to our buyer number 2. So that would have probably netted us a lot more money. So that's why you want to get these disclosures out, so people want to spend more money on your home, open up their wallets, remove their fears. But 2, it also protects you and your net. And then finally, with respect, this is what we do. After I've done disclosures with my clients, let's say they're selling a property in a different part of California, I call up agents. I find out, first of all, I want experienced agents. People have sold multiple homes in the area if it's not a brand new area. Now, there's many ways to do that. I sometimes call brokerages. I sometimes look at reports and see who's doing a lot of transactions in the area, and I call 3 or 4 people. I've been doing this for years. Sometimes we already have people in our network. Well, let's say it was a brand new area. It was a small part of California I haven't worked at before, but there's agents in there. I will ask them what their multiple offer strategies, and I'll challenge them with a few things. I'll ask them how they get top net. And if they say, well, I get all the offers and I go highest and best right away, I'm like, I explain to my client, this person probably hasn't negotiated. Normally, what happens during these conversations is 1 or 2 of the agents with true experience will start talking and we'll have a conversation, and I'll see that they put it all together. They have a process that really works. Now, I have one that I really like. I like telling people that, okay, so we're having showings this weekend and next weekend, and then on Sunday night of next weekend, we're going to discuss all the offers with everybody. We're going to tell people where you are. We're going to pick an offer. And sometimes I'll say, ideally, I disclose this ahead of time because we've agreed with the buyer that we're going to say, okay, so the strongest offer with the best terms, we're going to keep here in top position, and we're going to tell you you're our best offer. We're going to let the other people negotiate, and then we're going to have one more round. Or you can say 2 rounds, or however you want to do it. I like to say one more round. Like when this buyer gets to that threshold, you let them know, hey, you're a great buyer. We're still having other people come, but we're going to let all them negotiate against each other, and then we'll give you a right of first refusal on their terms. By the way, are you interested in doing inspections early? Like if we pick you, can we get this done as fast as your lender can do it? Or are you a cash buyer? Like you can negotiate, maybe even put 1 or 2 in your really strong position pile and let the other ones. There are people, I can tell you from experience, there are people who start off with the worst offer, and then when they realize there's 5 or 6 people bidding on the property, boom, they're done. We're just 50,000 higher than the next person, or 100,000 higher. Some people just don't know, but when they see the competition, they're like, I've got a lot of money. This is a home we want. We see there's demand for it. Boom. We want to be the winners. Major mistake to not do it that way, in my experience, over years now, than to just negotiate with the first 1 or 2 offers that come in, the first 3. I mean, doing this process, and now, if it's a really weak market and only 1 offer is coming, maybe that's the one you do. But in a normal market, balanced or multiple offer market, I can tell you that while you're negotiating, other offers come in. And that's one of the reasons why I say you really should be working. If you're a buyer, you should have the listing agent represent you, because when you decide to win, you can say something like, all right, well, I'm willing to pay $10,000 more than them if your seller can sign in the next hour. Because when I'm working with, let's say I'm representing a listing agent, I'm working with a buyer's agent, and they're like, okay, we're willing to go to 1.2. I got to get it all drafted up. I'll get them to sign it. We'll get it over to you. Then you can have your clients sign it. And my clients, they're like, hey, we got to, in the meantime, someone calls and says, hey, I got a really motivated buyer. And I'm like, we're in the middle of contracts right now. Your people need to see the property right away if my clients are interested. And they're like, please, please, please. And I'm like, well, they're already at 1.2. Where are your clients going to be? They're like, if they like the property, they're easy at 1.2. And I'm like, all right, I'll call the sellers. And the sellers are like, I'm like, you're in negotiations with these other people. There's nothing that says you can't let someone else see your property. But I can tell you from experience, they're going to be super ticked off. And they're like, oh, let them see the property. And they come back and offer far more. I mean, that happens. That's why, you want to be working with the listing agent if you're a buyer. That's why you want to do this process if you're the seller. So if you'd like to find out more, go to winnerscheck.org. Thanks. My name is John McConnin. I'm a real estate attorney here.